You. Firstly, congratulations on getting the film into Fright Fest. The
Thank
25th
you.
anniversary at Fright Fest. You guys are on the main screen, Odeon, Leicester Square, where all the big premieres happen. How are you guys feeling about the screening?
Excited.
Um, Excited and nervous.
Yeah, a little nervous for sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have, I don't know if you can tell, but I have the Two Witches poster behind me to represent our other film. So super excited to be showing this one.
Yeah, finally getting into Fright Fest is the first time. I mean, I've never been, me personally. I don't think either of us have actually.
No, no,
No,
no.
me neither. So
The movie theater is huge, and we actually just found out that our screening was almost sold out too. I think there's like just a handful of tickets left, so it's a lot of added pressure, but it should be exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's the reason why we make a movie. We want it to be seen on the biggest screen possible. But on the other end, when that happens, we're like, oh shit, is the movie gonna, withstand the the task? I mean, the of delivering on a big screen. But we'll see. I'm stressed out with the technical aspect to it too, because since it's such an important screening, then it needs to be everything, technically, as good as it should be. But we're excited. We've never had any of our movies screened on a screen this big, so
Mhm.
so it's pretty exciting.
Sorry
It's a
to feel
lovely
the
cinema.
pressure.
It's a lovely cinema. It's a lovely screen, and just the history that comes with the cinema in itself. Outside of Fright Fest, just getting to say that you've screened in the Odeon in Leicester Square is it's pretty it's a pretty big deal. So I can
All
imagine
right,
the nerves.
we're adding pressure here.
Sorry. At least
no,
it's
it's
not
gonna be,
IMAX. At
yeah,
least it's
it's
not
no, it's
IMAX.
gonna be fun. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fun. I think people are really gonna dig it.
Well, yeah, like well, I think the way that we made the movie was also like it definitely this one was meant to be shown like in theater. It was really like we had this in mind like from the whole time, and I think it's a great test, even if we're stressed out about it. It's going to be a great test with for the the movie in general, and see people reacting to it in such a big theater. It looks like it's going to be sold out, so we're gonna get a bunch of reactions, and yeah, I think it's gonna be
Mm,
fun.
we'll see.
And
But yeah,
what?
it's a sensory movie. It relies a
Mm.
lot on the I think on the the atmosphere, and to the scares, or it's a movie that's really visual and sound based rather than dialogue based. For example, it's more so having the opportunity to have it in a nice theater like that is hopefully does justice to the film. Yeah.
I think so.
And I guess where did the idea for Traumatica come from? How did it come together?
So that was what, February? I think it was February of 2023,
Mhm.
if I'm not if I'm correct. And we were very eager Max and I, we were very eager to make another film
Yeah.
fast, and we wanted to just dive into it, fast, because we had other projects lined up, but they were taking too much time, and we're like, okay, what is it that we want to do something in a very near future.
Mhm.
And so it started out with just the idea of a house. Initially it was a house, one location, a kid, and a scary mom. That was the premise, I think, of what we wanted to do, because we thought that would be not an easy, but a doable,
Hmm.
technically a doable thing to do. And then from that we expanded, and then
Yeah, we originally started shooting the movie like mainly as the POV of the kid like getting scared by this character. Um and it was maybe a little too sensorial, so too
yeah.
experimental at first, and then we like the idea. We were also like thinking like we wanted to hit festivals as soon as like we wanted to hit the festival run in 2023 almost with with the movie, and then we just kept adding characters, scenes, and arcs to the story to make it bigger. And now we're in 2024, finally finished it, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's very different than what it was supposed to be originally, I think, but for the better.
Yeah, I think because it takes the film sort of takes place over a long period of time, and it utilizes a lot of different subgenres and horror, different versions of horror. You've got a haunted house, you've got sort of a ghost watch sort of thing, you've got true crime elements. What was it about, all of those, elements that you thought would work together to tell this story?
Um, well, I don't know if we knew if it was gonna work together, if they were gonna work together, but since we're really like huge film buffs and horror fans, we're always excited to have an opportunity to tackle one specific style. I think with Two Witches, it was more obvious that we stayed in more in one style. But with this one, we had like the possession, but then we were like, yeah, but because we already knew very early on that the kid, we wanted to do something about the trauma and the kid ending up being like this sort of monster archetype of a killer in a horror movie. So we always had that, and we quickly said like, oh, it would be cool if at the end it starts as a possession movie, but then it turns almost into a slasher, or at least we come up with the creation of a character that could be in a slasher film. So I think it was a conscious decision, but it was more like, oh, we're excited to do a scene that's like more like slasher like scene, and a scene that's more like ghost oriented. I think it was more of a a desire to tackle all these elements.
Yeah, we had like also talked a lot about like these videos of because we started with this POV idea, and then from the kids' POV it went from, oh, what if a cop showed up, and like, and maybe we start to think about like the how do you call it, the body
cam
of a cop, and like should we do a POV with a cop, and then it started to, I feel like that's what brought the noir, like almost like case like side of the movie. It was just brainstorming.
Yeah, it's almost like voyeur. It's yeah. The really like kind of like true crime facts based like twist, like vision of the movie. That was very early on. Something like that would be true crime, as if the audience is just like witnessing this terrible story. We have like, that's why we wanted to have like the timeline, almost like the structure of a documentary. If I don't know, it might be a little bit too much what I'm saying, but something that you would watch on like on Netflix or whatever, like a true crime thing where you have like different elements, and then you know more about this terrible case. Like, yeah, to have like some sort of a case feel in the movie.
Rebekah, your character Abigail, she's got several sides to her, and her appearance changes vastly, from one scene to another. How did you sort of tap into that role, and how much did the makeup and the prosthetics help you, perform in certain scenes?
Yeah, oddly enough, the prosthetics actually were kind of a challenge at first, just to get used to them and to figure out how to still move my face in a way that was creepy, or that Max and Pierre wanted, but still, being able to like manipulate my face, because part of it was, now kind of frozen in a certain way. So that was an interesting challenge at first, was to kind of figure out how I could still talk and still move, somewhat normally, but also abnormally when I needed to. And it seemed like this was something that I had, had for a while. So that was an interesting challenge, but also really fun in the end to figure out how I could do different things and how I could also not just use my face, but how I could use my body to play the character, to convey what she was wanting and feeling and all the things that were going on with her. Like you said, there's a lot changes with her throughout the film. And it was really exciting and fun. And I had a blast because I got to do a lot of things in the film that I haven't done in other movies yet. So when they approached me with the script, I was like, this is so fun, and this is something I definitely want to dive into. So she was really fun to figure out and to try to hopefully play convincingly.
You did great.
Yeah, it's I mean, you terrified me, so job done. But I always find it fascinating when there are children in horror films, and especially something with this, given the quite dark material revolving around. There's been some children going missing, and is this woman that's with him involved or not? How do you guys sort of go about filming that with these kids? Because I know, like, to a degree, they know it to pretend, but how do you make sure that you're not accidentally traumatizing them?
Traumatizing them for life.
It was a huge part of it. Yeah.
Well, let alone the location where we shot the haunted house was already scary. Yeah. So yeah, it was a challenge for sure. Also, well, and Rebekah will tell you more about it. We were really trying to trying to get the kid to mimic some things that we would do in front of him. So then he would do a performance based more on like a copycat aspect rather than understanding. Obviously he didn't understand anything. We would not tell him, so we would have either have to tell him like to copy Rebekah, and Rebekah would do something, or we would do something, or we would tell him something completely different. Same with the child in the cave, for example. When she sees Rebekah in the cave, I was just saying, imagine you, because I imagine you have a bee that's like around you and that's gonna sting you, instead of thinking, oh, there's a possessed woman behind this rock that's gonna jump on you, So using images that kids don't like, but that are not traumatizing or scary, too scary.
There's that moment where that kid, for example, is found like dead at some point. We had to shoot this, and I remember we were like, well, like, you're sick right now, so give us like a sick face, and we were playing around this and just kind of like stealing some shots here and there.
Stealing some shots, some emotion, and saying like, oh yeah, but because obviously they would be like, yeah, but I'm look like a zombie, and we're like, yeah, but it's a Halloween prank. In the story, you're doing a prank and you're scaring your friends, and we just do a shot of you and you have to pretend that you're sick and that you have some zombie makeup. So it was like that the whole time with all the children we had, which sometimes was a little difficult because the children would remember what we would say, and since what we would say wouldn't make any sense, they would try to make a logic. They're like, yeah, but in the other scene I did that. Why did? And we would have to come up with.
Don't worry about it.
We're like, don't worry, yeah, it's gonna be fine.
They were super young, so like the main idea was to protect them from the terrifying ideas we were trying to put together. And I think they will hate us in 10 years, like say like, oh my God, they talk a lot of crap.
They have no idea how violent the film is.
Right. Rainen, who played Mikey, was great. I mean, we filmed everything separately. So anytime you see us in a scene together, I either had the makeup on and I was filming without him, or if I was filming with him, I didn't have the makeup on. So he never saw me in the makeup. He didn't know that that's what I looked like in the film. And like Pierre said, he was a great mimic, and we would, okay, now let's be scared together. And he was great about going right. I mean, he's fantastic in the film. He looks great, does a great job. he was really good at being with me in those moments, and playing. That's what they see it as, right? And it's a great lesson for adult actors too, that like acting really like they just really, it is play for them, and to remind ourselves of that too.
And I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you all worked together, previously on Two Witches. How did, that established relationship then help with this film? Because as we say, it's different genres, different time periods. How did that sort of foundation help here?
Sorry, was that for me or who was that for?
For all of you, because you guys, Two Witches, something that you've all collaborated on previously. How did that relationship help you here?
Oh, a lot, I would say.
Shooting like Rebekah had to shoot so much difficult stuff in terms of like, no, give more, or like, like having a previous relationship with her, and also like being on set all together. It's like it's easier to know how we work, and maybe like, I don't know, maybe it was easier for you, Rebekah, to not be shy about moment where, for example, somebody is sucking on your feet and we're all laughing in the background because it's hilarious. Like moments like that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I
Yes.
can share this, or if it's okay to share, but when Pierre first approached me with the script, you would ask like if I knew anyone. I think you had in your mind someone older for the part, like you wanted an older actress. And so Pierre was like, hey, doing this film, like, do you know anyone that's older that might be interested? And I was like, yeah, let me look through my, Rolodex and then get back to you. And then he was like, actually, you should play the part. And so I was like, yeah, like I would be totally down.
Yeah.
It was great. It was I feel like we have a really easy rapport, and we kind of understand each other, all three of us, and what works and what doesn't, and willing to jump in. And sometimes we show up and we're like, what can we make work? Because sometimes what's in the script or what's in your mind works or doesn't work. So it's easy to flow, and it's just okay, now you're gonna do this. And I'm like, okay, let's try it. Like we're just it's just easy. I don't know. I feel safe around them. I feel comfortable. I know they're never going to ask me to do something that's not safe, and I know it's going to look great. So I'm, feel always comfortable to kind of jump in and see what fun things we can find. And that is different than other experiences because I don't always get to just try stuff. And with them, we always get to try and find and explore. And that's always really fun.
Yeah. There's definitely like when we were talking, and Rebekah, when I reached out, because we were talking with Max, and we're like, oh yeah, so this role is going to be kind of difficult, and then we were like, well, we should just ask Rebekah, because we know that we have this trust and this mutual trust that I think it's hard for a filmmaker to have with actors sometimes that we don't know, especially for the horror genre, when we have to do crazy things like when we said, oh, Rebekah, you're gonna have to crawl, and you were like, all right, yeah, I'll practice, and then you fucking nailed it in one take or two. Both takes actually are really good when you're crawling on the floor. So things that usually you kind of are, you as a filmmaker, you kind of dread to ask people, like, oh, could you do this, could you do that. We knew that we're with Rebekah, your game, and you bring so much to the table. We have, like, for example, we have remember when we were supposed to do the monologue when you kill yourself scene one day, and then you're like, hey, look, can we do that tomorrow instead? That's the kind of relationship I'm telling you. Like, it's like we have great communication, and we're like, okay, you know what, we'll switch scenes and we'll do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow was much better. Same when you look at the dead kid in the bathtub and you ask me for another take, and we were super behind, but I was like, oh, you know what, if she says that, it's like this relationship of trust and what's it called, like a mutual respect. Okay, we'll do another take, and every time it's so worth it. It pays off significantly.
Yeah, that's the take we ended up using, was the one that we asked.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I know that, like, you guys will listen to me, and if I say, like, hey, I can do another one, let me try again, like, you're even if we're behind, you make it work. And that's such a beautiful thing for an actor, because sometimes we get told no. And I get it if we just literally can't, but I, as an actor, try not to ask unless I really think I can bring something different and better, to at least try. So I really appreciate you guys so much in letting me find it there.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I was shooting it, I was like, that's money. That's yeah. It's about like great communication, I think, between all of us. Nothing is like un unspoken or like or un what's it called, addressed. Everything we have great. We're all on the same page to try to do the best we can within the limitations that we have, obviously. But I think that's the big part of the collaboration.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm guessing it goes without saying that, you guys are probably going to work together again at some point in the future. It feels like this, whenever
Oh
you
yeah,
guys get together, you make magic. So I'm guessing that there's going to be something else in the future.
Well,
yeah,
there's a sequel to Two Witches, so this is in the pipeline somewhere.
yeah,
Which like is a massive, massive role, I think, for Rebekah and all of these aspects. Like this, the character is so crazy and so deep in the sequel that's
yeah.
definitely a good one. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I
definitely
mean,
looking forward to playing her again. I've never gotten to do that where I play another, go back and play a role again. So I'm really excited to be able to do that.
Yeah.
and I mean, I know the film, it's practically sold out at Fright Fest for, but for those, those few tickets left, and for those people wavering about should I, shouldn't I, why should they take a chance on this film? What are they going to get from this film?
I think we're gonna scare them. I think that as Pierre was mentioning, like there's a heavy like sensorial aspect to the movie. I think playing such a big screen to an audience that's like literally like our people. It's like the horror community. I think we're gonna talk to them, and if they're paying attention, I feel like they'll get scared.
Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
the festival is called the Fright Fest. I think it's appropriate.
I
I
love
think
that.
this movie is appropriate. I think it's not trying to do anything else other than disturb you and spook you, I think. So I think what you see is what you get in terms of, this movie. So yeah, I think if they want to get a spook, they should definitely go take a look.
Yeah, I got to see, I haven't seen the finished because I know you're still working on some VFX, but I got to see an almost finished cut. And you never kind of know how it's going to come together because as an actor, you film all out of order and you don't really know what's going to work and what doesn't. And the film just starts off with a bang and it just doesn't let up. I mean, especially the first, hour and something, it just goes and there's no room to breathe, which I love. It just if people want something that just hits hard and goes, this is definitely the film for you because it's not a slow burn, this one, which is great. I the visuals are so intense. I remember we watched it with my husband and we turned off all the lights and I was like, holy crap. And it's hard because it's your own movie, so you're trying to be like objective, but I think it's really scary and the visuals are stunning and the cinematography is just gorgeous and everybody did a great job. So I'm excited for people to see it.
I wish you guys
And
the best of
also,
luck with
like
the screening.
I feel like people like just to compare to with Two Witches, because with Pierre we were talking the other day, we're like, this is scarier than Two Witches for sure. Because uh, at the end when Two Witches came out, like it was like we felt it's so much more of a laid back movie, where there's humor in it, and you sometimes you chuckle and it's kind of funny, but people who watched it were like, oh my God, that was so scary. Like, oh, the movie was terrifying, which we didn't necessarily feel completely like that. I feel like the people who thought that Two Witches was scary are in for a I don't know what, but for
Yeah,
something, because like this
yeah.
is way, way, way more disturbing and scary than that movie. Yeah.
I agree. And I'm going to wish you guys the best of luck with the screening. I'm sure the Fright Fest crowd are going to love this one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it, Kat.